Hello everybody and welcome back to another Logan Blackman Show YouTube video. Hope you all have had a fantastic week since the last time we have spoken to each other, and as you can probably tell by the title on this one, we will be taking a look at the United States men's national team upcoming game against Turkiye back in Los Angeles. 9 p.m. Central Time is a little bit later than what I would have liked, and I'm recording this a lot sooner than I normally would. Usually I let it digest for a few days and then I record it and edit it and get it out and all that stuff. But in this one, I'm not feeling the greatest. I don't know if you can tell by my voice, probably not, because I'm at the peak right now, but I can tell I'm gradually going to be going down, and I know as time progresses, I'm not going to want to record a preview, so we're getting it out of the way now. I don't know when the video is going to come out exactly, but the game again is on Friday, 9 p.m. Make sure to tune into it, but the United States is obviously coming off of a 2-0 win against Australia, and before we get into that, I almost forgot, before we get into that, let's go over the housekeeping items first. Make sure to check out all the links down in the description below, all the different social media accounts, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of that. Check out the podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You go to loganblackmanshow.com, check out some blog posts on there, but most importantly, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, trying again to reach 200 subscribers by the end of the 2026 FIFA World Cup or by the 4th of July. I know that's only a week away or near a week away, so make sure to speed up the process on this. Here's the numbers again, and also make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you're already enjoying it, but if you're not a trusting individual, I don't blame you. I'll remind you at the end, though, to give it a thumbs up, but if you still don't like it at the very end, I will apologize. I will try to be better next time, but make sure to leave a comment down below on why you feel the way you do, why you love the video, why you hated the video, all the different emotions, what you felt about the United States performance against Australia, what you felt about Turkey's performance against Paraguay, which we'll get into that here in a little bit. But the United States, once again, coming off a 2-0 victory against Australia, who tried to muck up the game, tried to really muddy it up. We knew it was going to be a physical encounter. I mean, we saw the game against Turkey. They sat back the entire time. It's funny because both teams play with a back three or back five, depending on how you want to look at it. But the United States back three or back five is a lot more attack-minded than Turkey's. Australia sits comfortably 9 men behind the ball. Mohamed Toure is basically just sitting up top by himself, but even then, he gets in between the goal box and the halfway line. Like, they're just sitting back and inviting pressure from the United States, and it makes it really hard to try and break them open. Did the United States play their best game in this game? No, but again, when a team is desperately trying to muddy it up and knowing that technically they're not going to be able to compete with the United States and just parks the bus the entire time, tries to beat teams on the counterattack like they did against Turkey, it's going to be hard to create things. But the United States still was able to get some goals in this game, courtesy of own goal, who's the United States joint top leading goal scorer in the 2026 World Cup, Logan Blackman, going down the left-hand side of the field, tries to play it back inside the box, gets played in the back of net. Very similar-ish goal to that of the game against Paraguay, where it just played across and just passed in the back of the net. It was a great, to start the game off, back-to-back games, own goals. It's a great feeling, a great motivation for the rest of the game just to get amped up, and the crowd was in it the entire time. I mean, the national anthem was awesome. I don't know if you guys were able to watch the national anthem, but hearing the entire crowd sing the national anthem prior to the game just gets you so ramped up. And we knew Seattle's known for their crowds, but that first goal was great. Australia did have an attack early on in the game, within the first 2 or 3 minutes of the game. They did have a little bit of a thing going, but the United States was on the front foot for pretty much the rest of the first half. And then you see Weston McKennie and Serginho Dest on that right side, alternating with Dest cutting inside, Weston McKennie taking up that right wing spot. Those types of movements that we talked about in the Paraguay game are so essential to what the United States does from an attacking standpoint, that they're so fluid up top. And even though there was no Christian Pulisic, we saw Ricardo Pepi even floating around. Balogun, as we talked about before, playing a lot on that wing. But it's just a very fluid system. I love Mauricio Pochettino's idea, playing with a back three. We're going to play 2 strikers. If they're sitting with a midfield 2 and a double pivot, we're going to play 1 striker through the middle. And that system and that tactical adjustment has been something that the United States has been crying out for years now. And to see it finally take place at a World Cup on the biggest stage was so awesome to see. And seeing that, we're actively trying to make things work for this game. We know not every opponent's going to be the exact same, which is something that Greg Berhalter was very big in doing, that we're going to treat every opponent the same. We're going to play the exact same, no matter if it's England or or if it's Panama. We're going to play the exact same way. But it's so crazy. If you look, speaking of Panama, if you looked back at the 2025 Nations League, when the United States crashed out to Panama, if you would have told me at that point in time, we'd be seeing United States performance like we have seen at this 2026 World Cup, I would have called you crazy. I would have never expected people at that point in time to say, yes, we should extend Mauricio Pochettino after the 2026 World Cup. At that point, and even the Gold Cup, you saw a lot of people screaming for his head, and there's been a lot of things Mauricio Pochettino has done throughout his time as U.S. manager that I haven't necessarily been the biggest fan of, but as this World Cup has gone on, I have grown to love Mauricio Pochettino even more, and it's been so... I don't know. Like, it's just been so much fun. And then the attack-minded approach with the back three has just been so awesome. And then you see the second goal of the game. Free kick. Anthony Robinson takes it quickly. Sergiño Dest on the outside of the box takes a shot, deflects up in the air, and Alex Freeman is there to head it home. They checked for offside. They initially ruled him offsides, but they ran the check, ruled he was onside, and then they goes down and celebrates in the corner. And Alex Freeman is a guy that made his debut for Orlando City SC, was a starter for Orlando City SC at the beginning of the 2025 season. Now he's considered undroppable. Like, Alex Freeman provides so much from that right center back spot or that right back spot from an athletic standpoint, covers so much ground from that spot to allow Sergiño Dest and Weston McKennie to play further up the field, to cover that entire side. And that, like, there's still some rawness in his game from regards to a possession standpoint, but he's 21 years old, and Mauricio Pochettino after the game talked about how Alex Freeman could be one of the very best at his position in the world. And he's 21 years old. He's going to keep getting better. And I don't know if he's missed a game that he's been a part of for the United States since Mauricio Pochettino has inserted him into the squad. It's just been so much fun. And if you would have said in 2025, the beginning of 2025, with Alex Freeman would be a guaranteed locked-in star, one of the first names on the team sheet for the United States, I don't think a lot of people would have believed you. But that's the reality in which we live in right now. And he puts the United States up in the same building, or not the same building. I don't know if they played in the same building or not, if the Kingdome was still there or not. But you put a performance like that in the same spot where your dad puts on a great performance for the Green Bay Packers, it gets emotional at that point. So the United States goes into halftime up 2-0, and Australia makes 2 subs. Or I think they made 3 subs, at halftime. But the 2 that are the most notable ones are Irakunda and Connor Metcalf, the 2 goal scorers from the game against Turkiye, and neither one of them started. I don't really understand that mindset, especially when you put a 35-year-old Matthew Leckie at right midfield, and he's 35 years old, who didn't play a single minute against Turkey. Like, I don't understand the thought process behind that. It's like they tried to get a little bit too creative, or not too creative. They outsmarted themselves. We saw a fair amount of yellow cards for Australia, and you've seen after the game, you had Irakunda talking about how the referees are gifting the United States calls, or remember that 2 teams are playing in this game, and dude, if you didn't fall to the ground so easily, if you didn't get bodied every single time you ran into the box, then we wouldn't really have this issue, but you fell over at the first sign of contact. There are a fair few from Australia in this game. In the second half, starts off the United States on the back foot. They're just not attacking as much. And Australia is creating a little bit more chances. It wasn't a pretty second half at all by any stretch of the imagination. Again, you saw out the game. You saw the performance. We saw Austin Trusty get introduced for Anthony Robinson. We saw Joe Scally come in for Sergiño Dest to get more defensive-minded in there. Like, they sat back towards the end. Like, after the 80th minute, the United States was perfectly fine sitting back. Again, was it pretty? No, not at all. It wasn't a pretty performance at all. Matt Freese was tested a little bit more in this game than we saw against Paraguay, which is good because we want to see him get tested at least a little bit, because I'm still not the utmost confident with Matt Freese, but I did like that he was barking out orders to the defenders. I do like that. I want to see him have like I'm the goalie, you listen to me. I'm the quarterback of the defense, you listen to me. Like, he was barking out orders to Alex Freeman in the second half of this game. Like, the United States right now is playing a game that I wasn't necessarily prepared for prior to the World Cup. Again, I had all the faith in the world the United States could win this group. I had all the faith in the world they could win this group. I mean, Turkiye, Australia, Paraguay are all good teams within their own right, but the United States just has more natural talent. With the World Cup being on home soil, it was hard for me to believe that the United States would finish anywhere other than first. But again, I understood where some people were coming from in regards to the United States finishing second, because the performances prior to the 2 friendlies didn't necessarily fill you with the most confidence. I know they had the big one against Uruguay and all that, but there weren't a lot of performances you look at and go like, oh yeah, I'm confident that the United States could do it if you're not a United States fan. But to see people, I saw a video today of people predicting the United States finish last, like, you're just hating at that point. You're just wanting to be a hater. You don't want to have fun. Like, you hate fun, or you hate the U.S., whatever. There was no way they were finishing last. and they're finishing first. They topped the group. It's officially confirmed, officially official. Earliest the United States has qualified for a World Cup. First time they've had back-to-back wins, and I can't remember the exact year, but I'll put that on screen somewhere. But the United States has scored 6 goals so far this tournament. I guess the other teams have scored 2 goals, but it still counts all the same for the U.S. This is the second most goals the United States has ever scored in a World Cup. You look at 1930 World Cup where they scored 7, and you look at, I believe, the 2002 World Cup where they also scored 7. They're at 6 goals right now through 2 games. And that's like, you look at what back at 2022 and see the United States struggling to get anything working against Wales and Iran, and then to see how fluid the attack is, how much they rotate, how they counter press, how much they're just in the defenders' faces the entire time, and they're not afraid to back down, which is something, again, the heart that we talked about prior to the World Cup starting, and all these camps that the United States has about the heart, the passion for the U.S., they have shown that in bunches in this World Cup, and I'm so excited to see whoever they wind up playing in that game. But the reason the United States won the group is thanks to Paraguay coming away with a 1-0 win against Turkiye. Turkiye dominated the game. They dominated the game once again. Hakan Çalhanoğlu can hold his head up high because they dominated. They put on more shots in this game. 32 shots in this game. 16 of them, once again, from outside of the box. And I don't know what it is with Turkey. Like, they're getting frustrated. They were getting frustrated against Australia. They were getting frustrated against Paraguay. So they're just lasering shots where if they get a touch or get even a glance of a chance, they're going to lay it on or try to get it on target. They only had 5 shots on target the entire game, but they had about 72% possession. Like, again, if you look at all the numbers, they dominated the game, so they can hold their heads up high that, yes, you have 0 points and have scored 0 goals, but you got a good amount of shots off, and you're dominating statistically, so you can hold your heads up high, ladies and gentlemen, from Türkiye and the players, all that stuff. You can hold your heads up high, but this game started off quick. They get a ball played in. It's an intercepted ball. It's a bad pass. It deflects off Kenan Yıldız. Kubas intercepts it. He plays up to Julio Enciso, who lays it off for Galarza, who just lasers it in to the bottom corner of Türkiye's net just over a minute into the game. Like, that's where it started. And once they scored that goal, it's like, oh, we don't need to do anything the rest of the game. So they sat back. I kind of forgot about Galarza getting a yellow card in the 4th minute of the game. So he scores the first goal of the game after, again, not playing a single minute against the United States, scores a goal in the 2nd minute of the game, and then 2 minutes later gets a yellow card. And it's like, oh, he wants to make sure his presence is known throughout the course of this game. But then you get the Mulder header that goes off the crossbar in the post. And he had a few other chances in and around there, but then Miguel Almiron, right before halftime, gets a red card for covering his mouth. It's a new rule that FIFA has implemented for the World Cup, but it's just so funny to see them go like this and then go to review a possible red card and then come back and say, player number 10 for Paraguay was covering his mouth, so it's a red card. And I understand why they're doing it. It was a funny thing to see. And then you go back, you're playing down 10 men. And Türkiye are just like, okay, we're just going to laser more shots on target. Yeah, Demiral with a chance from outside the box that got deflected by Alderete, which forced a good save out of heel. Gül with the header in the 62nd minute that was easily saved. There's a little short cross in from Kenan Yıldız, headed right at the goalkeeper. You had Can Uzan scoring a goal, or not scoring a goal, but putting a shot on target in the 89th minute. You had a counterattack. I believe Paraguay didn't score. I can't remember if they scored or not, but they got ruled offsides. So then Türkiye starts off quick, nice little counterattack. Yilmaz down the right flank, plays a ball in, and Uzan, just puts it right up the goalie. And then this follow-up effort from, I can't remember who, but it gets played out. He would have been ruled offside as well. So it's just it's an insane feeling for Türkiye to look at what the hype was going into this tournament, that they're going to be the team that dethrones the United States in this group. The talent that they have, Hakan Çalhanoğlu, Kenan Yıldız, Arda Güler, all these guys, they got too much talent. Like, for how much shit they spoke prior to the Australia game and how much their fans have talked shit on Twitter. Like, I remember seeing a tweet prior to the World Cup that was going player for player with the United States and saying, oh, Türkiye is 11 for 11 out of all of this. We're better than all of you. And then you see some of the tweets after the World Cup. It's like, man, this is just it's a crazy feeling. And I think everybody had higher expectations for Turkey. I thought they'd come in second in the group. I thought they'd be the biggest challengers to the United States in this group. But that just kind of seems to be the common trend with Turkey at these tournaments, where they're the dark horse every year. It doesn't matter what tournament they're in, they're the dark horse. And more often than not, it feels like they fall short of those expectations. I mean, it's been 24 years since they came in third in 2002. It's the first World Cup since 2002. And this is the performance that they put in. And Arda Güler for saying, we're the better team, we're going to prove why. Just saying, why, God, after the game. Like, you didn't back up anything that you talked about. And you could talk about how you dominated possession, dominated shots on target. Like, you had 62 shots in 2 games and have 0 goals to show for it. And you've lost 3-0 combined in those 2 games. But games where you dominated. I saw a tweet the other day, or yesterday, after the United States game that says the United States is getting found out in this game defensively. Our offense will be too much. We will overwhelm the United States in this game. And you look at what Turkey has done offensively. It's been nothing. They've had 13 shots on target out of the 62 that they have had in 2 games. That's not threatening. You're just spraying and praying in that point. You're just going to shoot on sight. If we have an opening of anything, we're just going to laser it in, and 90% of the time, they're going over the crossbar. Yes, you had a few chances in there. We talk about the Mulder header in this game. You talk about the Uzen chance at the end of the game. Arda Güler has had a couple chances this game. But overall, there was nothing threatening from Turkey in any of these 2 games that they played. Are they technically better than Australia and Paraguay? Yeah, if you go player per player, I would sit there and go, yeah, I could say that Turkey is better than both those teams. But it doesn't matter what it says on paper because the game's played on grass, as the old saying goes, and Turkey's out of the World Cup. They're out of the World Cup. The second team eliminated from the World Cup, first one being Haiti. But I don't like, and speaking on that, I don't like this setup where it's head-to-head for the group stage for this last place because it makes this game non-important. Like, this is an absolutely nothing burger for the United States. The United States already qualified, so they were going to play a backup team regardless. But Turkey has got nothing to play for now. Like, if they win against the United States, let's say hypothetically, they have a higher goal difference or better goal difference than either Paraguay or Australia, they're still eliminated. But then for the 8th place or the 3rd place team, the 8 third place teams, that's decided on goal difference. So I don't get why we have 2 different things to decide who's going to the knockout stage. Like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Like, Australia or Turkey could sit there. I don't know what their goal difference. I mean, they have a -3 goal difference, so they have to beat the United States 4-0 to get a positive goal difference in this. But still, I don't like the idea that they're just completely eliminated from the World Cup. Though their play doesn't deserve it, at this point in time, I don't think that they should be fully eliminated because, again, they have nothing to play for now. And I think it's funny, given all the interactions their fans and players have had, but it feels not important. So are we going to see 2 backup squads in this game? I already know the United States is going to send a backup team in this game. I mean, like Ante Robinson, Tyler Adams, Folarin Balogun. With the amount of yellow cards the United States got at the end of this game against Australia, it'd be smart for the United States to just play a full backup squad, and we don't need to risk any injuries. Chris Richards is looking tired. Alex Freeman's looking tired. They play 90 minutes in both games. So you got to rotate the squad a little bit in this game. So if you're looking at the starting lineup for the United States, Matt Freese, I'm going to keep him in net. I know there's been people talking about Matt Turner playing in this game, but Matt Freese needs more reps. I want to see him with more reps. And Turkey is going to put reps on it. They're going to make him work for it. They're going to put shots on target, not on target. They're going to put a lot of shots on net. So we'll see how he's able to handle that. But back 3, we're going to go Joe Scally at right center back. Came on for Sergio Dest in the game against Australia. Then you're going to have Mark McKenzie at center back. It could be Miles Robinson, but Mark McKenzie, I feel, is the better player, so I'm going to have him there. And then you've got Austin Trusty at left center back. Right midfield or right wing back is Timothy Weah. Then in the midfield, you're going to have probably Christian Roldan and Sebastian Berhalter in midfield, Max Arvston on the left, and then a front 3 of Alejandro Zendejas. We're going to have him on the right, Brennan Aronson on the left, and then probably Haji Wright in the middle. So just a completely rotated squad. Like you saw Haji Wright at the end of this game against Australia, but just rotate the squad. Giovanni Reyna, we've seen him in both games come on as a substitute, but it's been after the 80th minute. So I don't know if his full fitness for a full game is there. I think Richard Pochettino is trying to play him into that spot, but we're going to have to see. But that would be my starting 11 for the United States. Maybe there's a chance where you see like a Malik Tillman still starting to play a half, Weston McKennie play a half in this game. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see, but the United States, they're going to have to figure out defend to clap back against Turkey's. Remember, prior to the Gold Cup, Turkey came away with a 2-1 victory, and the United States in that game played a mostly backup squad because that was prior to the Gold Cup, but you still had Matt Freese, Alex Freeman, Chris Richards, Robinson, Arvston, Tillman was in the squad as well. The Turkey squad was very similar, and the last loss Turkey had prior to this World Cup was 6-0 against Spain. The squad that they had these past 2 games is eerily similar to the squad that lost 6-0 to Spain. So you take with that. Vincenzo Montella, I'm intrigued to see what his future looks like. Yeah, it's not looking great for Turkey. I don't know what the United States is going to try in this game. Again, the full backup squad, I would imagine. At least that's what I'm hoping for. But we might see some starters play at least a half, so they're not fully full. I don't know. I'm intrigued to see how they do. in this game against Turkey. I do think this game will just be a 1-1 draw. I'm going to give Turkey a goal because I think they'll still play a strong squad. I'm expecting Yildiz, Guler, Çalhanoğlu, and all those guys to still be in the squad. Maybe they play a backup squad and just send everybody home. I don't know. We pull a France in 2010 and just send everybody home. But, yeah, that's all I've got for you today. Again, check out all the links down in the description below. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Here's the numbers again. Give a like on this video if you enjoyed it. If you did not, I sincerely apologize. Try to be better next time. And leave a comment down below on why you feel the way you do, what your predictions are for this game, what your thoughts are for the United States for the rest of this World Cup. Let me know down in the comment section below. Man, 6 goals in 2 games. Man, scored double the goals that you did in 2022, and you've only played 2 games. It's an exciting time. It's an exciting time. If the round of 32 were start today, they play Bosnia. So, you know what? Why not us at this point? Why not the United States? But that's all I've got for you today. Again, hope you enjoyed. If you didn't, I sincerely apologize. Try to be better next time, and I will see you guys later. Peace.